Resident Evil 7 is a game that revived the franchise, and a lot of people believe that it's the scariest game in the series. But what it plays a big part in building that tension? It's bosses. So in today's video, I'm going to be ranking all of the Resident Evil 7 bosses from worst to best. So, spoiler warning for the entire game of Resident Evil 7 and its DLC, and let's begin. In the ninth spot, I have Mama Mold, and please tell me in the comments what's the actual name because I'm not too sure of it myself. It's the DLC of Not a Hero, and it's the molded fight, a big bloated guy. And I think this fight is the only fight in the series that I don't actually even like fighting, because it spawns these little guys that without grenades are kind of annoying to kill. And I think overall the design of the boss is not unique, and I think the fight is kind of, and its moveset is straight up copied from weaker enemies. It just has his health stat boosted. So I think there's no originality, there's nothing unique about it, and because of its minions, it's really annoying, so it goes into the last spot on this list. In the 8th spot, I have Mia, which is a tutorial fight, and I think this fight, the only way I can describe it to you is it teaches the player how to play. There's nothing really good about it, there's nothing really bad about it, it's kinda alright, and that's why it only beats the one boss down below that I despise. In the 7th spot, I have Evelyn, the final boss fight, and I put her kid phase and her mutated phase into one boss fight, and all I can say is it feels very like scripted style of fighting, which I think it still has some cool action and it's still fun, especially when you're experiencing this fight for the first time. But I think the more, especially if you do more runs, or if you take it for what you're actually doing, the gameplay, I think it's kind of boring and there's nothing really to do except just block and then shoot a bit at it, and that's it. So that's why it goes into the 7th spot. In the 6th spot, I have Marguerite, and I think this fight, in terms of horror, it builds it very well. I think a big long legged creature is always scary, and I think her introduction of popping through the window is very cool. But I think the biggest problem with this fight and its enjoyability is the fact of how much health she has. And for me, it took really long. So even though you're enjoying the fight and its mechanics for like first 10 minutes or like 5 minutes, afterwards it just starts getting boring and it feels like it's overstaying its welcome. That's why it only gets to the 6th place on this ranking.
You need to tell me what you're doing out here alone in the middle of the night.
Me? What about you?
No, it's my job. Won't you do your job and tell me? Answer my questions.
You're not gonna believe me if I told you.
Try me. Hey, put that door back. Put that door back up. Wait!
In the 5th spot, I have Jack, the first encounter, and I think this fight overall is just very fun, very good, very well executed, but I think the only drawback about it is the fact that I think, in my opinion, getting into a car and getting the keys, it's a bit clunky. I don't know how you guys think about this, but I think this clunkiness makes it kind of weird, but overall I think this encounter introduces Jack very well and shows how crazy he is, and I think it just does justice to him. I just think the fights above him are just better, but I think this fight is very solid. In the fourth spot, I have Mutated Jack, and I think first of all, I really like the design of the boss. I think second of all, I like that there's two layers to fight it on, so it kind of gives more strategy. And I think overall, even though some people have a problem with weak spots being eyes, I don't have that, and I think that makes the mission of defeating the boss clear. And I think this fight overall I just enjoyed, especially with the weapons you have, like the flame round weapon, I forgot his name. And there's nothing really there isn't really one point that makes this fight really good, but overall put together I just enjoy fighting the boss more than the fights below. In the third spot, I have Jack, the second encounter. And yeah, you're hearing a lot of Jacks because I think Jack, all of the fights are kind of on the similar wavelength. And I think this fight is very cool. First of all, using body bags and walls to protect yourself from his crazy weapon. It's very cool. I think it's actually takes some skill and some understanding your spacing to be able to use these body bags. But I think what really sells me on this fight is the fact that you can then pick up the chainsaw and just duel him with the chainsaw. And I think that dueling makes this fight one of the coolest in the series. But I still think there's two fights that are better than this.
Zoe! Zoe, wake up! Wake up!
In the second spot, I have Swamp Man, which is, spoiler warning, to Jack coming back for his revenge for like the fourth time. And throughout the DLC you encounter him 3 times, but because with each fight he just gets more movesets and gets stronger, I'm just ranking his final fight. And in the final fight, why I think it's very high here is because I'm more of a Souls player, and I think learning some of his movesets and needing to duck some attacks I think makes this fight unique and different. And because you actually are using a melee weapon, which is a super glove, to punch him, I think the fight is very different from the other Resident Evil fights, and which makes it really unique, and I just enjoy this close combat, so that's why it deserves, in my opinion, at least a second spot on this list.
Is at critical mass.
Tell me something I don't know.
Oh, I've got some for you. You're fucking squirrel.
You're going to need to proceed with caution. Extreme caution.
Oh, well, that's different. Like I haven't been since we got here.
And in the first spot, I have Mutated Lucas from Not a Hero DLC. And this fight is one of those fights that I would confidently say I just enjoy fighting, and there's nothing that makes it like insanely cool that would make it objectively like a really good fight. I think a lot of you, if you had to make a list, probably wouldn't have it even in the top 2. But for me, the design is very cool of this fight. I really like the fight, and I think the idea of you needing to replenish your oxygen is very cool, even though it still is quite forgiving and easy. But in terms of how enjoyable the fight is, I just really enjoy this fight to the point that I just sometimes for fun redo the DLC, even though just for this fight, because I enjoyed so much. So this was the ranking of Resident Evil 7, worst to best. Tell me in the comments on what bosses you disagree. Show me your list if you want to. I'm gonna comment on it. And in the next one, I'm gonna be doing the second part of this, which is ranking them from easiest to hardest. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.